at this stage, we have a little bit problem. When we try to do the one reel sweep, it didn't work. The problem is because we modified the reel and we dragged the control point, and we did a 1D scale. So we need to fix the control point, to fix the wireframe. One thing we could do is to delete some of the control point and make this wireframe to be smoothed. So I would select probably this two and press delete on my command line, and possibly also select this. So as you can see, there's much less control point. I probably did one more. There's much less control point and feels more smooth to me. And feels like here also a little bit jagged. So I'm going to delete this one and do the same for the other side. And I felt this one is also causing a little bit problem. So I'm going to delete this too, and continue to look at the wireframe, and I feel maybe there might be some problem here, but I will try to see if this will work. So go to the surface toolbar, click on one reel sweep, select the reel and select the cross section, press enter and say OK. So it looks like we sort of fixed the problem by just deleting some of the control point. So let's select the surface. So once you click at certain area, if there are overlapping items, you need to make your choice. So we will select the surface and move the surface away. So now we end up with still this wireframe. And let's continue to mess up with it and see if other command will work. I would like to maybe to drag, press shift to keep selecting. Maybe I will continue to expand this area because that's the seating area, the edge of the seating. So maybe I will enlarge. I will continue to do a 1D scale. I would like to select to the midpoint. If in this case that we have end and mid and center, I could probably remove the center at the O snap. But let's say I have my midpoint selected, but as I am pointing my mouse to the midpoint, it actually would not snap to it. Previously, I did extra line and then try to snap to the line somewhere that I put into place. However, another choice that we have is to come to the O snap again and select the point, because control point can be selected as point. So if I choose point and then put my mouse over, because I know this point is really my midpoint, so if I put my mouse over, it would actually snap to just the midpoint. So maybe I should use a different view. I bring back my front view and press on shift. So in this case, I could do a 1D scale, and it's sort of creating a mirror image. However, let's say if I select this control point and use 1D scale, but if I just randomly put my mouse anywhere and try to do the same 1D scale, what happened is it's no longer mirror image. One side of it is going further than the other side, which is not what we want. So I press escape. So in this case, we sort of expanded the edge of the chair a little bit, And maybe I would, since I already modified the control point and reduced them, maybe I could be successful. Press shift. Yeah, so it looks okay if I just press shift and using my perspective view. So maybe I reduce this a little bit, although this may not be the final result we would like. At this point, just play with it. So, so let's try one real sweep again and see if this wireframe would successfully create a pipe for us. So click on the command, select the reel, select the cross section, press enter. So looks like it's fine. Looks like after we removed some of the control point, this command comes back to work. Another thing that I would like to introduce to you is a command called set point. So let's look at one of our wireframe. In case that we mess around with it, let's make a copy of it. And look at one of the view, the front view. For example, right here, what happened is you can tell this wireframe is because I modified already on it, so it's no longer overlapping. So the two sides of the chair is a little bit off from each other. So let's look at one of the wireframe and see how this happened. Okay, another tool that you could do, this is one of the wireframe. It's still perfectly in line with each other, both sides. What we could do is, in case something is not functioning, like what we tried before, what we could do is to rebuild the line. Suppose this wireframe is malfunctioning. What we could do is select the line and click on the toolbar. It shows the fillet curves, but if you expand it, there are many other choices in it. So this is basically how you edit the line. So we choose a command called rebuild. Yeah, just click and you will remember this as a little hammer. Click on rebuild. The reason that we want to rebuild is that we want to fix some problems. So click on rebuild and to look at the window that's showing here. We could at this point also turn on the control point and click on rebuild again. Select the curve, press enter. Yeah, so the window comes out again. So you will read this as point count as 36 and degree as 2. So the 36 actually represents all the control point that you have already on the wireframe. This could be reduced. Let's say we have, for example, instead of deleting some of the control point manually, what we could do is to rebuild and remove and reduce the number of control point. Let's say we could type in 20. If we do that, the control point on the wireframe will be reduced from 34 to 20. And the next thing is we look at the degree. Degree is a very important knowledge that you need to remember, which most of the time the degree goes from 1 to 3. So you could have a degree 1 or degree 2 or degree 3. You would not need more than 3. You simply remember that. So what we are doing now is to change the degree 2 to degree 3. Degree 3 is a very smooth degree, and degree 2 is less smooth, and degree 1 is not smooth at all. So we could change the degree to 3 to make the wireframe a little bit smoother. So at this point, you just need to remember there are 3 levels of degree, 1 and 2 and 3. And 1 represents no smoothness at all. 2 represents smooth, but less smooth than degree 3. So click on OK. So as you can see, this wireframe became more smooth because we changed the degree from 2 to 3, and also it should have less control point. However, the problem with this one is no longer overlapping. So we need to fix the wireframe. If this is really what we want, we need to fix the wireframe and to make it overlapping again. And this will require a command called set point. So let's look at this wireframe. Yeah, it feels like maybe because we set the points to 20, so it feels like it's not, although the number is an even number, but it feels like it's not really a even distribution of the control points. So it looks like there's one extra over there that I highlighted. So I will remove this one. Yeah, feels like at least we need sort of like even number on either side. We have a middle point, we have 2 on this side, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and there's one sort of there. Feels like there's one extra, either this or this, one of them. We need to delete them. I think maybe I delete this one, and or I make the other choice, I delete this one. Sort of, yeah, so at this point, it feels like it's an even distribution of the control point. And let's look at the wireframe from the other angle. So where is this one? Okay, that one is over here, and this one is down. As you can see, these 2 are not at the same height, and also one is a little forward and one is a little bit backwards. So I'm just going to demonstrate on this 2 control point and basically make them a mirror image of each other, which we have to change so that they would look as one point on my front view. So how do we do that? We select these 2, press Shift to continue to select, and there are 2 things that we could do. One is we could go to Transform and Set Point. Yeah, this is very important too, that you all need to know. Select Set Points. This will set the point overlapping with each other at all 3 directions. So let's look at our symbol on the front view, which says the Z and X. So we know the X direction, they are not overlapping, and as well as the Z direction. But the Y direction is not showing on the front view. And also, we really do not need to set the Y direction at this point. So we remove the Y direction and leave the X and Z. Basically, we want to align X and Z for these 2 points. When we click on OK, we could actually just put our mouse at either point and click on it. So at this point, once I'm done the set point, I basically set the X and Z of these 2 points at the same location. Yeah, only the Y is different, which is really what we want, because we cannot set all X and Y and Z, which will merge these 2 points become 1 point, which is not what we want. So the Y remains different. So we pretty much done what we wanted to do is to make them mirror image as before. They were one up here and one in front. They're not overlapping. So we could do also with the other 2 points. Select down below, select these two and look at them. As you can see on my front view, they're not overlapping. Yeah. So one is up, one is below. So we'll do the same. We go to transform and we go to set point, and we will do the same thing. We will set the x and the z to be the same and say OK. And this point we can snap the point to anywhere, or even not without snapping, we could also do something like this. Yeah. So what happened is now this 2 point is having the same z and x but different y, because y represents the third dimension.